Welcome to part 3 of my 3-part series of my old high school / college portfolio. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the work I did at community college in San Antonio. So just your standard community college, I took a ton of art courses and did a lot of great and important studies there. And a lot of work that I really enjoyed doing and was fulfilled doing. So I hope you enjoy my artwork from the now early 2000s, and hopefully you'll find it fun and interesting. When I dropped out of art school, I had just about given up. My friend Samantha, who I've mentioned before in previous videos, convinced me to go back to school and to keep doing art. And again, I did a lot of like graphic arts design classes at SAC. Thinking again, maybe I'll try my hand again at some sort of, practical art related career. Don't forget, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, we felt like, or at least I thought that our choices were limited for artists in terms of having a really good, solid career. I mean, that turned out to not be the case. And as we've all grown as a society and the internet has become more and more of a thing, there were lots of opportunities that opened up for artists. But at this time, I was like, I don't want to give up on art. And at least I want to keep learning, right? So I kind of did it more for just the joy of learning and doing something productive and artistic. And then also trying to find some practical career in which I could use art. But as you know, I wound up in insurance. So even though I really loved these assignments and I learned a lot and I got some cool pieces out of this community college experience, I still wound up not having an art career. But you know what? In my middle age, it's not too late. So as you can see here, I have one of the first assignments I did. Couldn't even get my color wheel to look right. I mean, we were doing really good there. This looks like it's acrylic paint, and I had an issue with some of the colors and blending and stuff like that. But I don't know what's wrong there. But that was one of my probably first assignments that I did at SAC. I have a couple of other probably like related color theory assignments. So I have this like butterfly. Yep, this butterfly that I made here. Again, probably a series of color mixing theory. I don't know if this is from color theory or not, but I had to create like a stamp and just like make a print of some sort. And I don't know, I really kind of like this. I have the stamp somewhere in my bag, but you can see, I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. It could be a fish. It could be a combination of two different like astrological symbols. It could be some representation of female anatomy. I couldn't tell you what the stamp was, but I carved the stamp myself, and then I used it, and I did some like splotches of paint and like carved out flowers and stuff like that. I don't know. Couldn't tell you the purpose or intent of this exercise. Maybe it was just for fun, but I kept it because I really liked it. I think most of the assignments I kept, trying to think like what class they're from. Some of these assignments have the names of the class on the back, but some of these things are just like kind of random that I've kept over the years that I have no idea where they belong. So like this small piece here, it's just like an exercise in like line work, thick and thin lines. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but thick and thin lines and just making different patterns with that. So that was a neat one that I kept. This one I really like a lot. These line exercises actually turn out really, really cool. So this is just like probably like dry dirt, the ground. So just like taking a picture of like dry, cracked earth and trying to represent that with like thick and thin lines. And I really like how that looks, like in terms of capturing a texture of the ground. So totally something I should probably try to do again in the future, because I kind of like how that looks. I've got a couple other favorites of line work that I've done. This one, I mean, I love this. So again, just using thick and thin lines to like represent movement. I'm pretty sure that was the point, right, of the assignment, to capture texture, capture movement. So this one is like water falling down, and you can see like the splashes. It's splashing from the ground, and I think this is a really cool piece using different kinds of pens, thickness and thins of the lines. So yeah, I love that. I should do more of those. Here's another one that's similar to that. Well, here's another one of just like thick and thin lines. Just practice. I don't know. It still looks cool to me. Like, this is still some of the favorite things that I've done. This one is just like repetition. So again, using varying thickness of lines and taking the same figure, and you can see that I've repeated it. I've changed the location of it. I've changed the angle of the person in this like line drawing. And then I have this like background with these like thick lines, this building, and then I've repeated it and changed the angle or like the placement of it. And I just really like how that looks. It gives it this sense of dimension that I haven't really played around with lately. So this looks like a fun one that I would be like willing to try again. So this one is really cool. I messed it up. Oh, I really like this one. I should have protected this one a little bit better. But you can see it's like a bug or some sort. And then you've got just these simple lines to identify like the body structure of it. And then you've got this circle here where you're basically using the stippling to like magnify and show the detail of whatever this creature is. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I really like how this turned out. Like, I was really good. This looking back at stuff like that makes me think like, oh gosh, I really was pretty talented, wasn't I? Like, the level of detail that I put into this magnification, I think I'm super impressed with myself, like, looking at that. That's just me though. Some other fun things I did. This was probably an exercise in symmetry, the way I'm trying to make the cat look identical on both sides, including like the markings on the forehead. So I probably took an actual picture of a cat and then like cut it in half and then copied the other side, because probably an actual cat is not quite this symmetrical in terms of like things like markings and stuff like that, but pretty neat. It's cute. She cute. This is a simple line outline of cat. I love cats. You may have noticed now. I should do more cat drawings. That would be fun to me. I don't know why I don't do more cat drawings. Here's another butterfly piece. Black and white, probably from the same class. With acrylic paint. That's pretty cool. And now I'm getting into some other, like, really, my matted assignments, like final projects or, like, major projects that I was getting graded on. So, like this one, it says the project is shape and the composition is emphasis in a field. So let's see if we can get that back too. So this looks like I took a silhouette of a person in motion, and it looks like I just replicated that and kind of did it in a circular motion, and then just filled all that in with marker to make its own like silhouette or shadow and or negative space, you know, composition. So you could look at it either way, right? It's kind of reminds you of those like optical illusions, although except it doesn't look like anything at all. But yeah, it's an interesting composition in terms of the shape. You can kind of tell what it is. And I like how the shape turned out. I have no idea. These don't have grades on them, so I don't know how well I did, but I think I did okay. I did okay. I think I just saw a YouTube video come up on my feed about this, doing this. So you basically take an outline of a shape. So this is like a vase of flowers, right? I took an outline of a shape, and instead of drawing the shape itself or the silhouette itself, I used the lines varying thinness and thickness, and then just creating the white space by not drawing lines there. And then you've created this white outline without doing anything but creating the lines around it of the shape. And you can see like the thickness of the lines like gives the vase like a little bit of volume and stuff. Very cool. I like it. It's kind of optical illusion-y too. And a fun exercise. So people still do this and it's a fun creative exercise. I probably would do more of these in the future too. This one, by the way, I think has a, oh no, it doesn't have an assignment on the back, but this one, principles of design, and the composition is related to contrast. I got an 85. 85, okay. Well, I like it. I like it a lot. So it's a cat eye. You know why, though? I mean, there's not a lot of contrast here, right? So there's some. But it looks like it's like a cat eye, like peeking in through some other structure, like a doorway or a opening of some sort. And it looks like it's with acrylic. So you can see I really did a cool design with the fur, just using like textured strokes of the paint, not just around the eyeball and like that part of the face, but like at the top too. You can tell like the thickness of the acrylic and the brush, whatever brush I used, like created texture itself. And that's what I really like about this piece. In terms of it being a good example of contrast, I can see why maybe I got an 85 on this. There could be more contrast, right? Like there's definitely lights and darks, but mostly it's a value study more than anything, I think. I don't know. But it's one of my favorites. I like it a lot. This one is a value project. Transparency is the composition. So anybody who's ever worked with Photoshop maybe knows this technique, right? You take a picture, you use like some sort of like filter to isolate the values, and like you can say how many values you want the picture to have, and so you break it down into like 3 or 4. It looks like I've probably broken it down into. So you can still capture the essence of the photograph, which it looks like two people like embracing, but it breaks it down to very, very simple shapes. So, and on top of that part of it, which was a cool assignment in of itself, I then had to create these lines of varying tone or value to create this sense of transparency. Like part of it, you're looking through something, you're like some piece of glass or something like that. So I think I accomplished that. I have no idea what I got in terms of a grade on this one, but I like how it looks. I like how it turned out. So yeah, go me. This one is project is space, composition number 1. I don't know what what that means. So this looks like it is a photograph of the San Antonio College campus building. It's probably the art building, and it looks like I used some program to take different pictures of the building and then create a composition of varying angles or parts of the building to create some new composition of sorts. It's neat. I don't know. I don't know how well I did in that. I don't really know if I know the point of that one. Somebody can tell me, but I don't know. It's cool looking. All right. I've got more value studies. So this is a found value study, number 1. So this is a watch. And you can see that I have the larger part of the watch is darker, using darker values. And then I've taken this bottom part and I've made it with lighter values. So it's like a comparison of like making an object with lighter or darker. So I've got a comparison piece to this, and it's where the lighter values are on the top and the darker ones on the bottom. Another found value piece. So it's the same watch again. It's just that I've switched the values. This does appear to be watercolor, so you can see my skill level with that in the now early 2000s. I think I've improved. Here's some photographs I took on a trip to California, no doubt, of the ocean and sand and the beach and stuff. I'm sure it was like a texture assignment. So if I look at the back here, shape is the assignment, movement, counter movement, polyrhythmic, what does that say? Rhythmic movement, repetition, implied force, and energetic interplay. I don't even know if I remember what those terms mean. But I like the photos. I like how they turned out. So I'm happy with that. Another project in relation to space, composition 2. It's an ice cream cone. And it's, I've used some sort of filter on it, and then I've zoomed into one part just to like isolate different values. I think it's cool. I like it. I've kind of lost interest in doing anything with like graphic arts, and, you know, I'm okay at it and I don't mind doing it, but I think that these assignments are still good if I want to do just like fine art too. I think it would be cool to recreate some of these using, you know, mediums like acrylics again, or oil or watercolor or anything like that. But yeah, this is a cool picture, and I would recreate this in like watercolor or something someday because I like it. I like the composition of the zoomed in piece. This is a random photo assignment. This is me, actually. This is a gift from one of my classmates. They took the picture, and I'm pretty sure it was something to do with the shadow here that why they included me. And it looks like the ground is wet, and it's got some cool shadows and shapes and stuff there. It's my standard dress. That hasn't changed much. I still wear all black, and I wear Mary Janes to this day. So I don't know what's on my clothes. I don't know if it's a design or if that's clay, because I definitely have some pictures of me covered in clay too. But I think this is just my standard outfit, uniform in college. It's just like a fun thing I did. It looks like I took paper and interwove it, like cut strips and interwove it. And then like I had drawn a figure, like the figure that I drew on the left side. Sorry, this one's a little bit bigger to see, but it looks like I drew the same figure on the left, but then I cut the pieces and like changed them around and like interwove them. And I like that. That's a fun assignment that I did. Or I don't know if this is just a fun thing I did at home it's possible. And rather than being an assignment, but a fun little play around thing to do. So I kind of like that one. I kept it, so I must have liked it. This is very similar to one of my high school pieces, so probably I stole the idea from my high school assignment. So on the back, you can see this is a value study, and I have a picture of a hand here, and on the top, hard to see. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah. So on the top, here's like a more realistic interpretation of the hand using, I don't know, charcoal or graphite or something like that. And then I took acrylic here, drew the hands again, cut the pictures out into circles, and then rearranged them into an interesting composition. So another fun one that I liked. I really liked how we matted our pieces at community college. Way better than my high school stuff, right? And just one final project that I have on hand that is like a final study. And it's a key. It's a key, like using simple outlines. Actually, this is like upside down. And then here's the key with shapes around it. I actually like the star shapes on the key. And again, I'm sure this is some test of value or something like that. More using different values on the outside of the key to like emphasize the key, I would imagine, is the purpose of that. And here's some with some good shading on it. I think that turned out really nice. I really like the realisticness of the key. Line drawings of multiple keys, different shapes. And then here they are again with shading. Yeah, pretty good. Not bad. I'm not mad at it. And that's pretty much it for the community college work that I kept. Like I said, these are some of the more favorite projects and designs that I worked on. So maybe this is helpful for somebody that regrets not going to art school. I promise you, you will have just as good, if or not a better experience going to a community college, and you will not throw away all your money. Maybe things have changed, but I don't think that that's untrue today. I think that going to art school might be a little bit overrated for some people. I understand the value for a lot of people, but for me, community college was great. I came out with a lot of new skills and things that I still use to this day, and things that I definitely want to revisit now that I've kind of gone through all of my old art from the past. And I would draw from my community college work before I would draw from anything else. So, yeah. So this essentially concludes my journey down memory lane. You've seen pretty much all the art that I can show you on the internet. There's probably a couple of things in that portfolio that I cannot show on the internet. But that said, I'm going to leave you with a couple of pictures of me from college. Probably one in my apartment that I lived in with my friend Sam when we were in college. And you'll see that there's some of my old art pieces hanging up on the wall there. There's definitely some with me covered in clay from my ceramics classes. I really wish I had evidence of the work I did in ceramics, because that was a wild time. and probably a couple other too. I'll see what's appropriate to add to the end here. You'll see scrolling through some old photos of me just for fun back then. So anyway, that's all of my art from the early 2000s now. I hope you enjoyed all of this work, and I hope that I can reflect on this and create even better work going forward for all the future stuff I'm going to do for the channel and even outside the channel. So with that, I will call it a day, and thanks again for watching.